Sportsisten.com.
Before and now, I'm a different person. Mentally, physically, emotionally, everything I've always wanted to be in for the UFC. Having Dana have my back and UFC having my back and be where I want to be and being a world champion again. And that's facing against Rashad Evans. I mean, he's a former light heavyweight world champ, and so am myself. And I see some mistakes in his game, and he thinks I have mistakes in my game. But on Saturday night, we're going to prove to see who's the best man with my hand raised.
Rashad, question for you, if I could. It seems like you have a lot to lose in this. Tito has won one fight in 5 years, and you were recently a champion, and you're taking a fight where he doesn't have a lot to lose, and you seem like you do. And so, does that add any pressure, or does that affect you in any way?
No, I think we both have the same amount to lose. I mean, the truth of the matter, what it comes down to, no matter what happens after this fight, the bare essentials is this right here. Neither of us want to lose to the other person, and when it comes down to that, nobody wants to lose a fight. And whatever happens after that happens after that. But for the most part, he doesn't want to get whooped by me, and I don't want to get whooped by him. So when it comes down to anything to lose, we both got the same thing to lose. We both don't want to lose.
Tito, what's your response to that?
I don't think about losing. I mean, you say over the last 5 years, go look at those matches. Tell me which ones I truly lost besides, Machida and Hamill. I lost some close matches, and I come back after injuries I did. Athletes don't come back compete the way I compete. I have some great things to achieve in this world, and I'm not done yet. I want to show everybody in this United States and the world in general that you're able to compete no matter what surgery you have done, and I'm going to prove it on Saturday night.
And Dana, just if you can react to that, especially from Tito's standpoint, since he had the upset win over Bader, is it kind of weird to you that theoretically he could get a title shot being 2-4-1 in his last 7 fights?
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens in the fight. There's no doubt he's the number one contender. He's been sitting out for a long time. We were very fortunate that Tito stepped up and took this fight. Tito went in and beat who many believed was the number 7 ranked guy, this young up and coming light heavyweight, and it put Tito back on the map.
Hello everybody. My name is Sexy Yama. やっぱり UFC はすごくレベルが高いですし、素晴らしい選手がたくさんいてるから、私は全力を尽くして戦ってますが、今の成績ではなくてもっともっといい成績を残したいと思ってます。
I am hello to the Philadelphia people, and I am Sexy Yama, and not instead Akiyama. I think it's the UFC has an excellent athlete and competitor, and so I'm very happy to fight here, and I'm going to improve more.
You look at Mr. Belfort as one of your icons. How do you plan to beat your icon?
ビクトさんのアイコンをどうやって打ち破るかという。
とてもすごいストライカーなので、けどそれでもしっかり僕も打ち合って戦いたいと思ってます。
He's an excellent, strong and striker, but I will fight back.
I was a very athletic kid growing up, and actually I was introduced to MMA by my father at the age of 5 or 6. So I always had an interest in the UFC, but I found a gym at the age of 14 in the town I was living in Kelowna, and I just fell in love with it and turned pro at 16 and just dropped everything else and just went 100% into MMA.
You said being very athletic. I mean, what other sports were you involved in? And was hockey one of the sports?
Yeah, hockey, soccer, baseball, everything, man. Track and field, everything I could just do to be active. Like, I would never sit down as a very hyperactive kid. When I'd get home, I'd just be running around the house, running around. Where I grew up, I grew up on a lake in a very small town. And I would just run around, go through the forest. I mean, I was doing everything, man. I was very active.
And one final thing, you're fighting a very experienced opponent, Mike Powell. Do people maybe sometimes underestimate you because you are a young guy and you look your age?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like, I'm sort of growing up a little more into my looks now, but like when I first started, it was crazy. I looked like I was 12 years old when I was 16, so I'm used to it. Like, people can think what they want to think, but when the cage door closes, it's man versus man. It doesn't matter what I look like at that point.
Question for Mike Pyle, please. Mike, if you look at kind of the theme of this fight, it's you're an underdog on paper going up against a guy that's got a lot of hype, younger guys. Is this kind of a theme that you're getting used to in your career?
Yeah, the last 3 fights I've had have been wins. I've been underdog every time. Those odds mean nothing to me. Whoever's making those odds doesn't affect me at all. I'm in the gym training all the time. I got some of the best coaches in the world, and I'm pushing all the time. I'm getting better all the time. And UFC has brought out the best in me. My loss to Ellenberger really woke me up and made me make a lot of changes. And I think it's shown in my last 3 fights.
Since we didn't really get to talk to you after the last fight, I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on your performances. I mean, it seemed like one of the closer fights. A lot of people thought you won, and a lot of people might have given it to Ricardo.
Of course, you always want to get a finish. You always want to get a finish in front of the eyes of the UFC. But the competition is tough. I'll take a win if I can get it, but I always love a finish. I wanted to fight. Almeida wanted to wrestle. Anytime we were, in any exchange, he was around my waist trying to take me down, which I had to try to, stuff that most of the fight. I hit him with some good shots. He was able to take it. It is what it is. I didn't get to finish that I wanted to finish. Could I have done better? I feel I could have done better, and that's why I'm back in the gym, working harder to make sure that I do finish.
And lastly, for Rory, seems like this is one of the only fights that hasn't undergone any changes, so you've had some time to look at Mike and get to know his game. What can you say about him?
I don't really study footage of fighters, and I just work on my own thing and bring my own game into the fight. I'm not really too worried what he's gonna bring.
And if you can just talk about all 3 belts, starting off with the main event and the difficulties in putting it together, and then just go through each belt and give us your thoughts on these incredible matchups.
Yeah, well, it wasn't difficult putting it together, it was difficult keeping it together. I say it all the time, Joe Silva's the best matchmaker in combat sports, period. And he gets out there and, when stuff starts falling apart, he's really the guy that's got to deal with that, not me. But as far as this fight goes, obviously, Pyle and McDonald, two tough, gritty, up-and-coming guys. McDonald has won, he's actually finished 10 of his last 11 opponents. And like I said, there's a lot of hype around this kid right now, but we're going to find out how good he really is going up against Pyle. Pyle's been on the run. And he's told me personally, this is my time right now in the UFC. This is my window. I'm taking this and going all the way to the top, so we'll find out Saturday night. And then Akiyama versus Vitor Belfort. I love watching Akiyama fight. This guy comes to fight, he brings it. And when the gentleman asked him earlier, about losing his first couple fights in the UFC and compared to his record, if you look at the fights that Akiyama fight, they were barn burners. I mean, I think his last 3 fights is one fight of the night. Is that right, Joe? Yeah. Fight of the night, his last 3 fights. So this guy comes to fight, he brings it, and I think that his style matches up great with Vitor Belfort. I think that Vitor is incredibly talented, has great hands, and Akiyama's going to make him use them on Saturday night. And then Rashad and Tito. Rashad's been waiting for a while to get a fight here. You want to talk about a string of bad luck. His has been a lot worse than mine has. He's, every time he's had a fight, his guys got injured or he's got injured, and he's been sitting out for like a year and a half now. And Tito's popularity has never been bigger. Tito hasn't been this popular since 2003. A lot of people that thought he was going to get finished by Bader, he came in and pulled off the huge upset. And I think a lot of people have gotten behind him and are excited about his resurgence here. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. Tito catapulted himself back up into the top 10 and stepped up on short notice and took this fight with Rashad Evans, which I give him a lot of credit and respect for. Yep.
UFC gets great responses wherever it goes, anywhere around the world, but UFC 101 when you came to Philadelphia for the first time. Can you kind of talk about the response that you got here then and what you expect on Saturday?
Yeah, no, it's great here. The thing that I love about Philly, and Greg said it before, it's a fight town. You know, Philly's famous for being a huge fight town. Some of the best boxers and fights have happened here in Philly. And I always say I'm proud to be the guy bringing big fights back to Philly. And the response here is always awesome. The last show that we had here was incredible. We had a blast, and we expect the same on Saturday night.
Hey, Mike. Dana said, he alluded to the fact that you told him this is your time now. Being 35, you've been in this sport for a long time. Why do you think that this is your time now? Why has it taken until 35 to get here?
I've been asked that question a lot. I guess I'm a late bloomer. I'll take that though. I'm healthy. I'm healthier now than I ever have been. I think due to my fighting style, I don't really get into a lot of rock'em sock'em robot type fights. So I don't have a lot of years, if you will, on me because of that reason. I can't give you an answer why, but I can give you an answer that I'm going to be held to deal with now at 35.
And Rory said that he doesn't really pay attention to the guys that he's fighting or look at tape of them or something of that nature. Is that a mistake in your opinion?
What he thinks doesn't matter to me. When we get in there and we start, finding that rhythm of the fight, he'll find he won't be able to hang with my rhythm. So that's it.
And can you kind of give your impressions of his overall development as a fighter? He's obviously impressed a lot of people so far. He's
definitely an impressive fighter, no doubt about that. I'm in the UFC. We're both in the UFC. We're fighting in the UFC Saturday night. Both of us are going to be tough, no doubt about it. There's no slackers in UFC. You're always tested when you're fighting anyone in UFC, whether it's their first fight in UFC or if it's their 10th fight in UFC. You're always going to be tested, and I look forward to this test. I'm really anxious about it. It's a great matchup. He's got skills. I got skills. Let's put it together and let's make a show.
Thank you.
Gymgrossisten.com